Good afternoon, everyone. We are in conversation with Rahul Kulhari, Head of Data Science at Edge. Thank you, Rahul, for agreeing to speak to us on such short notice.
Hi, Ananya. It's my pleasure to be here and like having for discussions on multiple topics. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Rahul, we should tell everyone why are we here today? What are we discussing? We will basically be discussing about LaMDA and how it has taken the internet on storm, right? Google AI behaving like a human. Now that's something big, right? That's big. So, what are your thoughts on that? Interesting trend on ML.
Right. Yeah, it's been few days that particular trend is going on multiple social medias, and people are talking about. There are two kind of group people, we are able to see. One group is talking about AI becoming conscious, or the other group is talking about, okay, that's not fair to call it out, right? That's like uh, um, taking it to the next level, right? See, my point is, if you look at, let's understand what is LaMDA actually, right? And so basically, LaMDA is it's kind of a if I, the name explains itself, it's a language model for dialogue applications. What does that mean is AI has been trained on the dialogues, actually, the dialogues which people had with each other, or the way people interacted with each others, or through other mechanisms. That's where Google has built AI technique, or the neural network technique, to learn information from that. And obviously, these dialogues were acquired from the humans, or through certain channels, or through certain avenues. It would be not fair to call it out as AI has achieved the consciousness, right? And that has a different meaning from, if you look at it from three angles: from the uh, machine learning perspective, or deep learning perspective, and then philosophically as well, and the same time neuroscience perspective as well, right? And there are different, all the points prove that you can't call AI yet as it has become conscious, right? It has got consciousness. uh, See, the point is, and I'm just going to talk very specifically on the ML perspective, actually. See, what does the language models means? Language models are particular kind of a models which are trying to learn the language patterns, or it's basically applying the statistical techniques to understand, determine the right sequence of words occurring in a sentence, actually, like how words occur with each other. So what you're trying to teach machine, a technique how words occur in a particular order in a sentence, actually. So now, obviously, when humans are having conversations, people will be talking about different variety of the topics, and some of the topics which we have seen on LaMDA, some of the details which were shared by the Google engineer, actually. So it's just basically learning that kind of behavior, or that kind of a co-occurrence or word occurrence from the data which was fed to it, actually. It's just applying that sequence which it has learned from those dialogues which this system was built on. Obviously, science is playing the role, because science is trying to capture how can I best capture that sequence or occurrence of the keyword with each other in a sentence, actually, because that's my goal or aim, right? It will be not fair to call it out, taking it to the next level of calling it out as a consciousness, right? AI has achieved. That would be not fair, because it's just a simple mathematical approach which you are doing it, which is just trying to find a pattern with each other, between the words, between the sentences, and just getting the certain understanding, replicating as part of the learning, actually. Yeah. For example, now let's say me and you are having conversation through dialogues. You asked me the certain questions, I responded in a certain way, right? And I said that, okay, AI, people from the different communities, like ML community, or philosophical community, or philosophers, or neuroscientists, are talking in a different way, right? So like that, getting the consciousness is a very different game at all, actually. No one even, like, it's very difficult to call it out who is the conscious, who has conscious, right, and who is not conscious about it, and different topics. But the conversation which we are having talking about multiple topics, and system can learn from it and start replicating that behavior, that doesn't mean it has achieved that. It's a it's going to be good amount of times. And as if I'm understanding rightly, I don't think AI will be able to achieve that consciousness which human has actually, at least for next 40 to 50 years actually. It's too far, right? Right now is telling to learn the patterns from the text, the way human are phrasing the sentences, telling systems to learn that pattern and rephrase it, re-alter it, or build a new sentence, new structure around it, and get the benefit of it actually to build certain capabilities like search, right? Like conversational systems, the chatbots, like that.
After I heard what you said, yes, I, with whatever limited knowledge that I have, and I agree with you that that kind of a consciousness will take time, right? But what is this? I mean, the way we have been reading, whatever we've been reading, right? It very well shows that maybe it has not achieved that kind of a human consciousness, but somewhere closer to it.
So look at this way, right? I would not even say somewhere closer to that as well. The reason for that is, see, that's where the one particular topic which you hear very frequently in the community or across the communities, and that's where regulations are coming into the picture, is responsible AI, right? Even before this lambda, the trend came into the picture. Before that, there was another trend going on actually. So now think about it, the language model which is trying to learn the sequence of the word, right? The best possible sequence of the word is trying to learn from the data. What kind of data are you feeding? It's learning from that actually. So now let's say if you are feeding the hate speech, let's say you acquire hate speeches from the social media or many other channels, and you train that, what is going to come out is the some interpretation of the hate speeches which has been replicated by the AI system actually, right? So
Mhm.
and or let's say if you put some kind of a different kind of data on that, right? Like something completely different of the hate speech, or let's say what how can I say the conversation between the parents and their kids, right? That could have been have the different sense around that actually, the nuance or the specificity of that conversations actually. Now, right, and that tone can be different actually, and that how is that tone replicated, the kind of word which use in the sentences actually. So that's why I'm saying the kind of data, the learning which you did see, I think that information was captured as part of the data, and that's why you were able to see. Obviously, AI is going to make some sense about it, because when we are having conversation, sometime we are having conversation where we are just openly open-ended conversation actually, and we
Okay.
respond in a certain way actually. And sometime when we communicate with each other through dialogues, or through we in anger, in hate, in like friendly manner actually, right? Sometimes when we have the conversation, they looks interesting. Sometimes we are talking about the trends, so that's where we found them more interesting actually. So AI is going to learn from it, and it's going to get, it doesn't have it is the hate speech, or it is something related to the anger, or it's something related to the sadness, or something, some sentence is talking about happiness. It's just trying to replicate the choice of the words which it has learned from the training data actually, the data which has been feed to the systems. Now that's where
Mhm.
we say, when you try to feed, right, because otherwise misuse is going to happen otherwise, right? And that's where like sentiment can be different kind of sentiment, and you want to show there's certain kind of sentiments. People talk different topics on social media or anything, so you can have any multiple infinite number of senses, topics, nuances, and system is going to capture that. It doesn't understand about that explicitly, but it just understand, okay, this word is going to occur with this word bestly in this context, because these are the choice of the other words available as part of the sentence. So this word make perfect choice right now actually. because it has learned that particular best options from the data. So if you pass the hate speeches data, it will learn the hate speeches, and similarly it will be replicating that. Now obviously you can introduce the other techniques to see how can you tackle those kind of nuances or sensitivity, right? How can you remove the, how can you deal with the hateful speeches actually, and how can you
Mhm.
deal with the misleading information? Fake information is a trend, another trend actually, right? Very difficult to understand. And you, internal biases, see, we human has a bias actually automatically, so system is going to learn from it. So system is just replicating that actually, because learning that from the data, it's just and finding the best possible choices from that data. It doesn't understand it's a hate or not, and obviously it will not be able to understand that,
Okay. Okay. So
right?
basically, it's just throwing out what it has learned, right, without any emotions, unlike what the Google engineer claimed.
Right,
Right?
right. Because see, maybe again, I can be incorrect here, because I don't have much info on what kind of dialogues that system was trained on, right? And but let's say if the dialogues were between different kind of personas and system, what if the data could have been biased? Again, I can be incorrect, right? What if the data cover only limited kind of senses actually, right? And
Right.
right, so system will learn that. That's a typical behavior any machine learning system. So the will be showing actually, right? So I would say uh, it's very, that's why I would say it's too far to call it out ki machine is doing something. It's just capturing the sequence of the words and replicating in the best possible way, uh, because of the certain metrics on which it has communicated ki, okay, you have to optimize for this particular kind of metrics or accuracy, you have to make possible sequence actually, right? So yeah.
Right. So Rahul, this makes me think that there are advances being made in the technology with every passing day, right? Metrics are changing, algorithms are changing, people are trying different permutations, combinations, everything that's possible. So, as a trend, what do you see? I mean, not what, but how do you see this helping the way hirings are done today? You know?
See, before I, yeah, I think that's a great point. So before I speak about the hiring, right? See, let's say
Mm-hmm.
even Google developed LaMDA, they built it for certain purposes actually, right? And one of the important purpose is search, because that's their main thing actually, right? And people do different stuff on the search. Certain people ask the question actually, right? Certain people, and through the conversation they try to ask the certain questions and the points actually, right? And you can see even like if today, like another example is Alexa, right? Google Homes, right? People, kids are trying to have conversation through them by asking certain questions about animals and different stuff actually, right? And the system is answering those questions. Now, oh, see, the best part is, now if I come to this use case in the hiring perspective, now let's look at what's are the use cases, what kind of information we deal with, or any company will be dealing it. Job descriptions. Every company posts their job descriptions on the multiple channels to hire the right candidates for the job actually, right? And what does the candidate have the resumes or CV or profile actually, or profile in case of the LinkedIn profile, or it can be polywork profile, or it can be any other profile actually, right? Now, and people are going to write information about their responsibilities, how did they utilize certain competencies, skills, about and what kind of task did they do with those skills or the competencies to generate what output, what outcomes actually. That's what people are going to explain. That they don't know they are doing it explicitly, but they will be doing that information as part of their work responsibilities when they're writing down their resumes or LinkedIn profiles, explaining their work actually. And same time company will be talking about similar kind of stuff, what is expected from the task, competencies, output, outcome perspective on the, as part of the responsibilities or the skills perspective in the job descriptions. Now what language pattern, see, language models, what they can do is they can help us to understand those responsibilities better. They can help us to understand the responsibility, other than responsibility, the relationship between the different responsibilities actually, right? And how things correlate with each other, right? And even the relationship between the output versus the task actually, and the relationship with the outcome versus the task, and the output versus competencies actually. Now, the better we understand, you can have the better idea about what candidate is doing, what is expected from the job, so you can do the better fitment, or you can find out the right candidates actually, right? Because sometime, if you look from a keyword independent keyword perspective, the meaning can be different actually, right? For example, someone is, let's say, writing as part of the job description working with a project manager, and someone is saying working as a project manager. If you look from the typical keyword actually, two keywords comes out, noun phrases like project manager, or right, work verb as a working. Now, if you see, they both look similar actually. How do you get the sense out of it actually? The particular sequence, working with or working as, it's
Mm-hmm.
that means a lot. That completely sets apart these two candidates actually, right? And shows the different characteristics actually. Working with shows about the, like, let's say, automatically you get a sense about collaboration and the communications actually. Working as a project manager, it shows the different characteristics. What does that mean actually? So like that, it's very important to understand the responsibilities. It's very important to understand the task, outcome, outputs, and relationships across each other to enable the right candidates. And the best thing is only going to come out through some kind of a language models actually. Now, industries is companies, not across HR, but across multiple use cases, companies are trying to are already utilizing these capabilities actually to understand the text better, right? Language models are to built to understand the short text to the large text better actually, right? Now, the few technology which came long time actually, like into the people built trying to utilize the transformer architecture like BERT, GPT, then GPT-2. Certain companies are utilizing the GPT-3 approaches, which is something like LaMDA, different neural network architecture, already utilizing as part of their AI engine to create the better value. Obviously, we will be also be utilizing that. We are not directly utilizing all these. We are utilizing a different neural network architectures to enable that. But that's very important because your resume is a lot. You have to get a good sense of the resumes, or good sense of the responsibilities, good sense of job responsibilities, task, what is expected, and what I'm gonna do with those skill sets, and which one is gonna create value outcome for you, and which kind of candidate doesn't create the outcome actually. And that's where it's gonna be very helpful to use these kind of technologies. I'm not saying the LaMDA, but companies use one way or other alternatives like BERT, GPT. They're already utilizing as part of the existing like systems, or the engines, or the products which they do have, right? For example, the Open AI have the selling their language models, right? Any company can choose to opt for that, subscribe, and start utilizing that. Like that, there are many other companies are have a subscription model. They're selling their AI capability as a subscription, who can build any a number of capabilities. They can build the semantic search, they can build the AI powered search, they can build the chatbots, conversational AI, they can build the writing writing systems, right? Like nowadays you see lots of product has come which is helping humans to write down the books, emails, how to write down the better articles, and how to write like the product descriptions, product manuals. Lots of use cases are being enabled because of the power of the language models, and they are truly breakthrough, happened long time back, when GPT BERT came into the picture actually.
So, right, you told us how it benefits HR. Anything else that you would want to conclude with, Rahul, that, what the future beholds? What more exciting things can we see in the coming years?
See, I think these kind of innovation will keep happening actually, right? recently we have seen few year I think year back we did see GPT-3, right? And this year we do see the LaMDA. Recently, few months back, we did see the another model by I think OpenAI. I'm not able to remember the name. It's I think Delhi 2. I think if I pronouncing correctly, Delhi 2. What does it do? It is able to generate the image based on the text which you give actually, right? And those images does not exist today actually, right? It is
Okay.
generate. So you have fed certain kind of information to the system, and it's generating certain images which is out of the box. And this was also a trend which was going on few months back. Uh, and like if I am remembering correctly, the founder or one of the co-founder or scientist was trying to generate the image, the AI generating sketch of the AI robot or something like that. It was really fantastic, right? You don't see those kind of things, and multiple people are playing with that kind of technology today, right? What AI can do, there is huge possibility, but I think with that possibility there is another point comes into the picture is the responsibility, building the responsible AI with it, right? There can be misuse, people and people can start writing the uh, fake news through those, and they can do much more around it, right? So it's so the time more invention are going to happen in this kind of space, obviously the text and image based area. Same time, new invention will be happening into responsible AI perspective as well, and multiple regulations will be coming into that area. And through because of those regulations, new kind of companies and new kind of tools will be coming into the ML ops area as well, actually, right?
Mm.
And because data is the crucial piece, so you will see the multiple data-based data. How can we build the better data actually? How can we acquire the better data? So you will see the companies coming out into the data acquisition space where companies are utilizing the AI to create data through that, so it can help them to build the capabilities faster. But yeah, but the main theme is going to be across text and the images, and making the more responsible AI actually,
Okay.
so people don't misuse it actually, people don't spread the hate speech or fake news or create some kind of bias actually around the world. Yeah.
True, 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 true. No, I think that's very important given the far-fetchedness of social media today, right? Even a slight comment can instigate a riot somewhere else. So I believe it's very important for all organizations, for engineers, for experts to do stuff to innovate new trends, to discover more, explore more, but with responsibility.
Yeah.
It's I think it's very important today.
And
So
I think it's a
great.
responsibility everybody has to take, not only the people who are building it, even the people who are involved as part of the process, actually, like founders, CEOs, the team who is acquiring the data, right? The team who's labeling the data, the team who's building the products around it, right? Everybody has to, and the people who are utilizing it, actually, right? So, yeah,
Right, right. So great, Rahul. Thank you so much for
thank you.
this conversation today. Right. Have a great day. Thank
You
you.
too. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you so much.